Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to an impromptu video. I always say that, but they really always are. I hope everybody has been enjoying a good weekend hitherto. I hope everybody's well, and especially for those in the UK, I hope you're going to enjoy a nice long bank holiday weekend. I'm doing all right, thank you very much. I've just had a little bite to eat and I thought I would do a quick video. I did do one before, but it was a bit too long because Facebook have limited videos now down to 15 minutes. So I'm going to try and challenge myself here and get what I want to say squeezed into below 15 minutes. So here goes. The reason why I'm doing this video, one of the reasons, I've got something flickering in the background there. And that's an old movie called Where Eagles Dare. And Where Eagles Dare is an old classic about a group of guys who basically infiltrate the Germans. They're British and Americans, played by Clint Eastwood, the American guy, probably to sell films. They go and infiltrate the naughty Germans and help to win the war, basically, for the good guys in the West. But the film itself is actually a pretty good film, some pretty good acting and some good cinematography and all the rest of it, camera work and blah, blah, blah. But it reminded me of something that I was talking to somebody about earlier today when we talk about Germany, and that is that over the last couple of days, a news story has developed whereby somebody murdered a few people with a knife, very, very similar to what happened in Southport a little while back, with similar numbers of deaths and injuries as well. And I just found it a little bit eerie, these similarities. And so I took a little bit of a closer look. The place that we're talking about is a place called Solingen in Germany. And just for a brief background, I know Solingen from the news quite well because back in 1993, I was living in Germany. I was doing a scholarship over there in Frankfurt, actually, in industrial sales management and stuff with a German chemical company called Hoechst AG. And Hoechst AG were all part of, back in the day, the IG Farben conglomerate. That included BASF and Siemens, I think, was one as well, and those sorts of companies. And they were all, responsible for things like chemicals, but, just synthetics in general. So stuff that was used for your everyday things, parts for cars, parts for houses, parts for machinery, and all that sort of thing. If there was one country I realized back then that will definitely react to anything extremist and right-wing extremist for that matter, then it's Germany. They very much like to distance themselves from it. My generation, so I'm born 1973. They definitely like to make a big point of the fact that they have absolutely nothing to do with their history, and that they don't want anything. You know what I mean? They want to definitely detach themselves in every way, shape, and form from it. So, of course, if you're going to hit the headlines in Germany, make sure you bring it in conjunction with right-wing extremism. Allegedly, a few people were killed in an arson attack in Solingen back in 1993. I remember everybody going out on the streets, and there were big demonstrations. Hundreds of thousands of people went out on the streets in Frankfurt, I remember, because I was one of them, talking about, love thy neighbor, love thy foreigner, and all that sort of stuff. And I have a multinational background, 3 different nationalities at least that I can think of: German, French, and British. My daughter, even more so, her mother is from the Republic of Georgia, for example. And so the list goes on. And that I would say is everybody. I could go a little bit more into detail on where I believe our roots kind of come from, but that would be a video for another day. But one thing I can tell you is that the media play their part most certainly in stirring that shit, basically, to get people's backs up and to have them argue and fight each other and all the rest of it. They are definitely part of it. They are definitely complicit in it all. No doubt for me about that. How else would you explain the very similar things going on in Germany now as is going on in England? Now, I looked up Solingen and looking for similarities between Solingen and Southport. And you can look at things like gematria and numerology in general and stuff like that. And you will be surprised what you find. I'm not going to start revealing stuff here and talking about things here. of that nature because I'm not studied in that field or anything like that, but I am very aware of it, and there are plenty of people out there who know a lot about it. But I would suggest you go and take a look at Zorlingen, you go and take a look at Southport, look at what those names come up to in gematria, look at what these numbers add up to, and look at the dates and all that sort of stuff, and you'll be surprised what you come up with. But I'll just say now the number 9 features very, very heavily, and that has very significant weight, gravitas in certain circles of our realm. Unfortunately for us on ground level, they are the circles that are running our realm, not the buffoons you see on the TV every day, you so-called politicians and all of them. They are literally only puppets. Everybody thinks they know they are only puppets, yet everyone goes off and votes. They are only puppets, trust me. I've been to Westminster. One of the things that I did study when I was still going to college here in England before I went to Germany was politics. I've met these people, and I've said this before many times in other videos. These guys don't even get to choose what colour tie to wear in front of the camera. Never mind write their own scripts. It's all written for them. All the speeches are written for them. How they act in front of the camera is written for them. How they respond to certain things on being questioned on certain things is written for them. What the questions are that are going to go their way are already prearranged and looked at and learnt and rehearsed and all that sort of stuff. None of it is left by chance. And only when it's done how they want it done, does it then get aired. So even if it says live event, be sure that most of the time it isn't really live. There'll be at least a delay in that transmission, because it has to be. Right? None of it is by chance. There might be the odd sprinkling of real news in between to prop up all those lies, like a local man whose dog saved a child from getting run over by a bus in the village or whatever. That might well have happened, and that will end up as news item number 4 after the weather. But the main bulk of the stories that you're going to see and hear about will all be there for a reason. And one of the main purposes, of course, is distraction. Now, this isn't conspiracy theory stuff, and I keep saying that all the time, because people, when they get a little bit stuck as to how to respond to the likes of me when I talk about things that I see and observe with my own eyes, that's what they'll throw at me. Oh, you're not one of these conspiracy theorists. These, like what? Like we're sat in a corner, like there's a group of people with tinfoil hats on with nothing better to do all day. No, it's not that at all. Just that I notice stuff and I like to question things. I don't just take things for as we're told they are anymore. Those days are long gone. And anybody who does, well, it's at their own peril. Look what happened over the last few years where people did believe what they were told and went along with it. And a lot of those people now regret that. I've met them myself, lots of them. What do you think we did vigils for here in Bournemouth over the last couple of years? Talking to the public, right? And most of them that we talked to very much regretted their actions and the fact that they complied, because they trusted authority and they trusted their media and all the rest of it. Big mistake. And that goes for every country, by the way. Every single country. And again, this whole Zorlingen thing with Southport, if you look at the similarities, 2 totally different countries, you'd think, right? I've lived in Germany. And in many ways, Germany is very different. The food is much, much better for a kickoff. But that's one of many, many differences. It's cheaper over there. It's cleaner over there. Everything's more efficient over there. People aren't as aggressive and in your face over there. It's less stressful life in general over there. Although things can be very fast paced over there. But it's not as intensely stressful and bad for your spirit as it is, for example, in the UK. And I speak again from personal experience. You know, if everyone else out there is living a life of Larry and is happy as that said Larry, not my Larry, he's put his head down for the night, then good for them. But I certainly am not, and I am noticing the bad stuff more and more and more. And it is well worth pointing out and talking about it. And there's no reason why none of you shouldn't do that or can't do that. You most definitely can. Because as far as I'm concerned, it's becoming more and more glaringly obvious now as well. So I just wanted to bring that to you. Look that up, the numerology and the gematria, especially of Zolingen and Southport. Nobody is saying here or suggesting that nobody's been hurt before anybody starts suggesting I'm some sort of denier of things. You know where this is going. Because that's what tends to happen. People then jump to conclusion and very much then slap a stigma on you that then has the effect of having people backing off you rather than listening with more interest because, oh, hang on a minute, this guy's actually got a point. That's how that works. That's why they like to then say, you're one of them, to try and scare others away quickly before they feel that you can get to them. Well, I'm not trying to get to anybody. I'm just pointing something out. So, yeah. Like I said, collateral and people getting hurt and stuff like that absolutely happens. Yeah, sure it does. Because the powers that are absolutely not interested in your well-being. The world we live in surely is evidence of that and proof of that. And like I said, if you're not seeing it and you're not feeling it and you think everything's tickety-boo, then good for you. I'd like some of that, what you're taking. Before I go, quick announcement. There will be a Flat Earth Social this coming Tuesday, the 27th at 7 p.m. at the Bridge House Hotel in Ferndown on the fringes of Bournemouth. Special guest will be Nathan Oakley. I look forward to seeing him coming down. I will be going come hell or high water this time. I've missed a few of these events and I was really peeved at it. I've been rather ill over the last few months. I'm slowly getting better. And I feel like I'm well enough right now. I do anyway. That might change in the next day or two. It tends to fluctuate, but these fluctuations are getting less and less, and that's what I'm aiming to achieve. So hopefully I can attend on Tuesday. But if you can, please do come down, have a listen to what he has to say. He is definitely a person worth listening to. He knows what he's talking about. And I'm glad that there are people like him around, to be quite frank. Otherwise, I'd still be running around in circles that resemble globes. Anyway, yeah, I'm rushing this video a little bit because I'm wary and aware of the time. I'm knocking on 30 minutes because Facebook have now put a limit on your videos to 15 minutes. So that's nice, isn't it? Not that they should have sent me a letter through the door telling me so, but they don't give you any notification at all. I just found out because somebody let me know last time that my video ended abruptly. And when I watched it back, I thought, oh, and it ended in a good place to end abruptly, but there was still a bit of a chunk missing. So hence me just squeezing that in a little bit now. Yeah, so look that up, Zolingen and Southport. All these events, so-called, and all these happenings and things that go on, they will all have a method behind them and a pattern and other stuff as well worth looking at. You know, the story you're being fed is definitely not, and I can give you lots of examples and I will in future videos, the truth. Definitely not. Anyway, so on that note, I'll say goodbye on Larry's behalf. Like I say, he's getting his head down around the back there. He's had a tiring week, you know, listening to me waffling on about all sorts of things. I've been on the phone a lot last few days. Yeah, and I will see you all soon. Some of you sooner. Take it easy. And until then, see you about. And ta-ta for now.